Ask Cursor what screen is currently open on your iPhone simulator, and it usually has no idea. Yet, Cursor can analyze your repository, generate Maestro tests, review your YAML, and explain your automation architecture. That is because access to your source code is not the same as access to your running application. Cursor may understand what the application is supposed to display, but without a connection to the simulator, it cannot directly verify what is actually visible right now. In this video, I am going to show you how to fix that by connecting Cursor to the official Maestro MCP server. We will install it automatically, look at the manual configuration in case the one-click setup does not work, verify the connection, and then use Cursor to inspect a real iOS simulator. By the end of the video, Cursor will no longer be limited to reading files inside the repository. It will be able to use Maestro tools, inspect the live UI, open the Maestro viewer, and participate in a much more connected automation workflow. Before installing anything, let's see the limitation clearly. Cursor can search through the project and may even make a reasonable guess based on the existing flows. It might recognize that the Order Me application has a login screen and that a login later action probably exists. But that is still an assumption. Cursor cannot confirm whether the application is currently on that screen, whether a system pop-up is covering it, whether the expected control is visible, or which accessibility properties the element exposes at runtime. In mobile automation, those details matter because our tests execute against the running application, not against an abstract description of what the UI should look like. This is where Maestro MCP becomes useful. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol, but the underlying idea is straightforward. It provides a standardized way for an AI assistant to use external tools. MCP does not replace the AI model, and it does not magically make Cursor more intelligent. Instead, it expands what Cursor can access and what it can do. Through the Maestro MCP server, Cursor can discover available devices, inspect the current UI hierarchy, take screenshots, open the Maestro viewer, retrieve Maestro guidance, and execute existing flows. The model stays the same. The difference is that it now has a direct, structured connection to the automation environment. Let's install it. The official Maestro documentation provides a one-click installation option for Cursor. Before using it, make sure that the Maestro CLI is already installed on your machine. If you have followed the previous Maestro setup videos or completed the earlier sections of our course, you should already have it available. You can verify that quickly from the terminal. The first command confirms that Maestro is installed and shows the current CLI version. The second shows where the Maestro executable is located. That second command is useful because Cursor must be able to find the Maestro executable when it starts the MCP server. In most environments, using the standard Maestro command is enough. If the server fails to start later, the full path returned here can help you troubleshoot the configuration. Now I will use the automatic installation. Click Add to Cursor, allow the browser to open Cursor, review the integration, and approve the installation. The important part of the configuration is very small. Cursor is being instructed to start the Maestro CLI with the MCP argument. Since the MCP server is already included with Maestro, there is no separate server application that we need to download or manage. Once the installation completes, Cursor should register Maestro as an available MCP server. That is the fastest setup method, and for most users, it should be enough. However, it is still useful to understand the manual configuration. Cursor's interface may change. One-click installation may occasionally fail, or you may want to configure the server only for a particular repository. This is the complete manual configuration. The command field tells Cursor which executable to start, and the args field starts Maestro in MCP server mode. For a global installation, add this configuration to. That makes the Maestro server available across your Cursor projects. For a repository-specific setup, place the same configuration inside the project. That limits the integration to the current workspace. The project-specific option can be useful when only one repository requires Maestro, while the global option is more convenient when mobile automation is part of your regular workflow. If Cursor cannot find the Maestro command, replace it with the full executable path returned by which Maestro. Just remember that a machine-specific absolute path should normally not be committed into a shared repository configuration. Now let's verify the connection. Open the MCP section in Cursor and confirm that the Maestro server is enabled and connected. Depending on your Cursor version, this may appear under Tools and MCPs, Customize, or another MCP settings section. If the server does not connect immediately, toggle it off and on or restart Cursor. Once connected, expand the integration and review the available tools. The exact list may change as Maestro evolves, but you should see capabilities related to local devices, screen inspection, screenshots, Maestro execution, and the Maestro viewer. This is the moment when Cursor gains a structured interface to Maestro. It no longer needs to invent terminal commands or depend entirely on static repository information. And now the workflow changes completely. Cursor can identify the active simulator and inspect the live application state through Maestro. Instead of guessing which screen should be visible, it can work with evidence from the running UI. It can list the visible elements, inspect their properties, and recommend a selector based on what the application exposes at runtime. This is much more useful than simply asking an AI model to generate a selector from memory. The recommendation is now grounded in the current simulator state. We still review that recommendation ourselves. MCP gives Cursor better evidence, but it does not remove engineering judgment. We still need to think about localization, repeated elements, accessibility, consistency, and long-term selector stability. We can also ask Cursor to open the Maestro viewer. This gives us a visual connection to the active simulator while the AI assistant works with Maestro. That matters because more automation should not mean less visibility. We still want to see which device is being used, what is happening inside the application, and whether the result matches the intended behavior. Inspecting the screen is only the beginning. Once Maestro MCP is connected, Cursor can combine repository context with live device evidence. It can inspect the simulator before making assumptions, retrieve Maestro-specific guidance, open the viewer, execute an existing flow, and return the result to the same engineering conversation. But installation is honestly the easy part. The much more important question is how to use these capabilities inside a professional automation workflow. How do you define safe operating boundaries? When should the AI inspect the environment before acting? Which actions should require explicit approval? How do you combine project architecture, prompt engineering, runtime evidence, test execution, and human review without blindly trusting the agent? That is exactly what we explore in Module 7 of our Advanced Mobile Automation with Maestro course. The module is not about asking AI to randomly generate tests. We build the workflow step by step. We use Cursor to analyze an existing Maestro project, reason about test coverage, structure production quality prompts, generate automation that follows the framework architecture, review the output, and validate it against the real application. Then, in Lesson 7.5, we connect Cursor to Maestro through MCP and move beyond the repository. We show how to begin with read-only inspection, how to review the tools Cursor intends to call, how to require explicit approval before execution, and how to keep the workflow observable through the Maestro viewer. The real value of MCP is not that it saves us from typing one terminal command. The real value is that it creates a connected feedback loop between the repository, the live application, Maestro execution, and the AI assistant. AI gets access to more evidence and more capabilities, while the automation engineer continues to define the architecture, safety boundaries, and quality bar. Installing Maestro MCP takes only a few minutes. Learning how to use it responsibly and effectively as part of a real automation system is where the deeper engineering value begins. If this tutorial helped you connect Cursor to Maestro, subscribe for more practical videos about mobile automation, Maestro, Cursor, and AI-assisted testing workflows. And if you want to learn how to turn this integration into a complete production-oriented automation process, you can find the full Advanced Mobile Automation with Maestro course through the link in the description. The installation gives Cursor access to your tools. The engineering workflow determines whether that access produces reliable automation. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.